Hi again, welcome back. My name's Tom, I'm the Dusty Builder, and we're standing in the backyard of a house I built in 2019. It was a great project, and my mom ended up moving into the house, and she's been very patient. She's been waiting for a patio. So in this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know on how to form up an area for concrete and how to prep the surface for concrete. If you're thinking about doing concrete yourself, this is going to be an awesome video. You're not going to want to miss it. Check it out. So to prep this area properly for concrete, we're going to need to start with a few tools. We're going to need a string line, a hammer, some screws, tape measure of course, some wire cutters to cut rebar, a drill, something to cut stakes with and to cut the forms with. I have a battery powered circular saw. We're going to need some stakes, a level, and right here I have a laser level. You don't need a laser level, but it sure does help, and I'll show you a workaround for that. You can also buy stakes, but I think it's easier and cheaper if you just make several of your own out of 1x material. So we're going to start laying out the patio. My patio is only going to be 10 feet deep, so it's going to be 20 feet wide, and we're going to measure 10 feet away from the house and pound a stake in. So here we have two different kinds of material that we're going to use for forms. The two 2x4s, we're going to combine them together to make a longer form. But below that is an engineered siding product called LP SmartSide, and that's a great material to use if you want curves in your concrete forms. Now, to combine two pieces together, I'm just going to use a splice of 1x material and screw them together. And that level, I put that level there to make sure that when I combine them together that it's straight. So I got a helper, I got my brother helping me lay out the forms. We're going 10 feet away from the house, then we're pounding in stakes. Now, I can only go 10 feet from the house because if I go any further, I'd be in the septic field, and I don't want problems down the road. And once we have the forms where I want them, we just secure them in place with a screw through the back. Each stake gets one screw. So once the forms are in place, we're going to use a string line to make sure that everything's nice and straight. See, we had a nail on one side, and we're going to hammer a nail on the other side, and we're going to use this string and pull it really tight. So it showed that I was a little bit low in the middle, and I had a bow in this form. So I'm going to just lift the form up slightly where it was low, and I'm going to pull the form back where it was bending in, and I was just off a hair. And then I'm going to secure everything in place with some more stakes. And so as you see, we're pretty good. We're maybe a little inside, but that's within my tolerances, so that's okay for me. So towards the end of the video, I'll talk about how I determined the height of my concrete slab. I did have some steps to contend with, but once you do find the height of your slab, I transmitted that line with a laser level from one side of the patio to the other, and then it'll also shoot a level line out to the stakes. So in the daylight, that laser can be very difficult to see, so you use a little transmitter, and then when it's blue and beeping, it tells you you're exactly level. The top line on this stake represents the laser line, and we found that with a receiver, and we're going to drop the porch 1.5 inches to allow for water runoff. A rule of thumb is 1/8 of an inch drop per foot. So for every 8 feet, we'd have a 1 inch drop. So we have 10 feet, we're going to go 1.5 inches. And if we don't want to use our laser level or don't have it, we could use a straight edge. I have an aluminum straight edge, which comes in handy for screeding. So we're going to lift the straight edge where the level indicates that we're level. And look, it corresponds with where the laser level says that we're level. And here's our other board to the house. We have to make it square. So how do you make it square? You need a dog and then a square. So we also do the 3-4-5 method. Measured 3 feet and 4 feet. And then where 5 feet intersects, it's square. Okay, we're on 3, and then this is the 4. We're square, 3, 4, 5. This part of the patio around the egress window, we decided to soften with a curve. So we're using that LP Smart Siding. And a lot of this is trial by error. You kind of set it up, see how it looks. Don't like it, then move it. So again, a lot of it's personal preference. So now that our forms are in place, we're going to get rid of any grass and topsoil that's in the area and make room for gravel. So I'm really lucky here. The subsoil in this area is mostly sand and rock, so it's great for drainage. And so the last step before I bring in rock is I'm going to go over and I'm going to compact the surface really well. So we don't want to go through this time and effort only to pour cement and have cracks. There's three main ways we're going to prevent cracks. First, we're going to have a good base. We compacted what was there, and then we're going to bring in about a 2 to 4 inch base of 21 AA limestone. So having a good gravel base isolates the slab from any seasonal movement. So you see here that I shot that line, and that line corresponds with the middle of the patio. So I'm going to run a string, and that's going to kind of help me gauge with my fill. So some people naturally have an eye for grade or for level. I don't, so I need these little reference tools to help me. So if this was a bigger patio, I would probably run a few different strings, and then I know I can bring my fill to 4 inches under this string. It's tempting to try to bring in all your fill at once, then run the compactor, but it doesn't work that way. It won't compact correctly. You fill in 1 to 2 inches, run the compactor, and then fill in your remaining 1 to 2 inches and run the compactor again. So step number 2 for preventing cracks is we're going to use rebar. This is 3/8 rebar, and I'm going to place it every 2 feet apart. So since this is a new build and there may be some settling, that's why I decided to use rebar. If this home had been here for years, I may have chosen not to use rebar and just cut more control joints. That is a common option that I've seen that works. I cut the rebar to size with bolt cutters, and then where the rebar intersects, you tie the intersecting connections with wire. And it's really simple. You just go under the 2 and twist and fold the 2 ears down. There you go. So my final tip for preventing cracks is going to happen after the concrete is poured. If you take a look, this nice new concrete has no cracks. It also has no rebar, and that's because there's several control joints that were cut in here 1 to 2 days after the cement was poured. So the cement is cracking where we want it. I'm going to pull it. It's going to be tight. Got it?
Yep.
All right, perfect. With my lovely mom as a helper, we're snapping chalk lines to indicate where the concrete slab is going to sit against the foundation. And we don't want the slab up against the foundation. We want a control joint there. We want a break there, and we're using expansion paper. So this expansion paper, it comes in 5-foot lengths, and we're just going to tack it in place with masonry nails and push the rock back up against it. So if you happen to have an area where a downspout would drain onto the slab, I like to run it under the slab. And the solution you see here, it would work, but this is more of a temporary solution. I think there's a nicer way to do this. So we're going to dig this area up, and we're going to replace everything with attractive looking PVC, and this should be stronger and last longer. So I'm just fitting these pieces together. I had leftover PVC. That's why I decided to use it. Come to find out, my life would have been easier if I would have used sewer drain, like you see here, or this landscape drain. It plays nicer with like these elbows. So this elbow has a nice drain at the bottom, and if that gets overwhelmed, water will come out the top. So I decided to make my own out of PVC by drilling some holes in the bottom. So it'll still work, but it would have been a lot easier if I would have used the correct fittings in the first place. So I'm going to just check and make sure that I have the proper pitch. Then once I do, I'm going to backfill everything and compact it. Water helps speed the process along. And you can see here where the water from the gutter is going to drain. So you can see it's real sandy and gravelly. And so if this was clay, I would make a bigger hole. But since it drains well, I'm just going to fill that area in with pea gravel. And let's test it. So we're going to divert some water down there with the hose. And pop the lid here. And it's draining through those small holes. And again, if it was like a super heavy rainstorm and those holes get overwhelmed, water just comes out at the top and then goes onto the grass. So there you go. We're pretty much ready for cement. We got our expansion paper in place. All the stakes have been pounded below the forms, and that's going to help us when we pour cement. That makes our lives a whole lot easier. And as you can see, you've probably noticed by now, I'm going to need some steps. Here's an example of some steps that are formed up by actual professionals. I'm not comfortable doing this. That's like advanced concreting. So I'm going to build some steps after the fact, and I'll let you know how I figured all that out next. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how I determine the height of my slab. Sometimes it's easy. You're just matching up old cement with new cement, so you don't really have any figuring to do. From the threshold to the ground, I had 28 inches. And if you factor in a 4-inch slab, that's 24 inches. So that would have given me 3 8-inch steps. To make the steps a little bit more comfortable, I wanted to shorten them down a little bit. Also wanted to raise everything up for around the yard. I think it looks nicer if you kind of step onto the lawn. A lot of this is personal preference. So what I determined was from the threshold to the top of the porch cap, I wanted 22 inches, and that would give me roughly three 7 1/4 steps. It was 7 3/8. So a lot of this is personal preference. You just have to decide how you want it to look, and this is what I went with. Hey, if you're still watching, I appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe and check back in. We're going to pour a do-it-yourself exposed aggregate patio once my laborers get out of school. Thanks for watching.